To our listeners who are job seekers and they're having a tough time, they can't find something.
Yeah.
Should they go back to Web2? Like, what's your recommendation right now? Is there another path that you suggest?
Yeah.
You tell them.
Yeah. My first thing I would say is I feel you. I'm with you. I understand. It's hard out there. I speak to hundreds of job seekers throughout the week. You are not alone. I would say the people that will stand out in this next round of hiring are the people who leveled up their resume, who spent the time learning new skills, refining their resume, updating it, chatting with recruiters, and really taking the time to make sure that their resume stands out in what will be a pile full of applicants. The people that are networking, going to conferences, the people that are really going out of their way. And at the end of the day, you do what you have to do. Maybe you take a Web2 job just to justify the means, which a lot of people do. People have bills, people have everyday expenses, but it doesn't mean that the door is closed on Web3. You can still apply. You can still find that opportunity when the time is right. And so continue upskilling your resume. That is the single most important thing that you can do during a bear market.
And when you recommend people to upskill, is there particular skills that you find are the most valuable within Web3 or that employers value or that you're recommending to people? I'm guessing it's not learning how to go into Discords and say GM over and over.
No, it's not. However, I would love to see a candidate who in their skills section, the first bullet point is can say GM in a Discord channel. That actually might help you stand out.
Totally.
Yeah. I mean, other skill sets, naturally this conversation will dip into AI, and the AI job market as well, which is very complementary to the Web3 ecosystem. And I do believe that training yourself to be proficient in certain tooling within the AI space and putting that on your resume, even if you're applying to a Web3 job, will help you stand out, because a lot of founders right now, a lot of companies are trying to figure out how to implement those tools anyway. But it's hard to speak generically. So what I would recommend is, let's say you're an analyst in the space and you're like, hey, what kind of skills should I have on my resume? Go to MetaIntro's Discord and you'll see the analyst channel and you'll see all of the jobs that have been posted. Click on a JD and see what the requirements are, and make sure the requirements for that are the keywords, the skills that are required are also in your resume.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up AI. One of the first questions we ask in our application process, like at the beginning, before we even go to interview, is, are you using AI? How are you using it? And what tools are you using? And I pretty quickly filter out those who are not using AI. And I bump up those. Everyone's using ChatGPT, so that one doesn't really impress me anymore. What more so I find impresses me is the people who are either very thoughtful in how they're using it and they have like implemented it into their workflow or into their daily habits or their daily routine, and they have like real examples of how they use it, or the ones that are deeper down the AI tech stack, to use that term, and they're using AI tools that I've either never heard of, or they're using it in ways that I'm like, oh, wow, like you're really focused on efficiency. And that matters obviously to me as an employer. So it's really interesting that you bring AI up. The other thing I find for us is I just want to see that people are doing shit on chain. Like, I don't care what it is. I just want to know, like, all you have to do is come to an interview and just tell me about something topical or relevant that you participated in recently. You minted some free NFT, which then got you token gated access to this, which you thought was really cool. Like, walk me through how you understand what it is like to be an on-chain user, because you can show me that you are an on-chain user.
Yes. And you could even have a section for that on your resume. So let's say you have your skills section, your contact section on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, you have your about me, your experience section. Save some space for literally titled the fun stuff, and put those bullet points of what you've been doing in your spare time, what you've been doing that's relevant to the industry, what shows your curiosity, because you will find time and time again that in these job descriptions, they'll say requirement, bullet point, curious about Web3, curious and always wants to learn. But that's a really good way as a job seeker in your resume to relay that information. Somebody who's constantly dabbling. And if anything, that tiny section can be what gets you in the door to an interview.